Do you struggle unplugging from your business? I don't know about you, but I have the kind of brain, if I don't take care of it, if I don't make sure I'm unplugged enough, I will just be thinking about my business the entire time. It just basically lives rent-free in my head. So as a result, I've kind of had to hack myself these past couple of years because when you are running an online business, it is always there. When you work from home, it is always there. When you run a part of your business on your phone, it is always there. So I've had to go through a couple of phases of, going over my boundaries, resetting boundaries with clients, with my phone usage, taking better care of myself. This is an ongoing process, and I'm not saying I'm nailing it all of the time, but I have figured out a couple of things that really, really help me to unplug more from my business and to do more self-care without feeling guilty all the time. So I want to share with you how I'm doing that. And I'm not saying I have all of the answers, but my hope is just that throughout this episode, you will get a few insights in what you might also be able to do to unplug from your business, online or offline, a little bit more, and how to incorporate a little bit more self-care into your work routines, okay? Let's dive in. Hello, and welcome to Fail to Win, the show where we love to make mistakes and learn from them so you can turn your passion into profits and live life on your own terms. I'm Amy van de Putte from FastForwardAmy, your host and coach, and I'll bring you a new episode with simple strategies every Tuesday. Okay, so first of all, I believe that we aren't made to live the way we're currently living. What I mean by that is, if I look at the 1950s, I always look at the TV show Mad Men as an example. Not saying that's a great example because everyone is just like smoking and drinking all day long. But if you look at it back in the day, people had maybe like very intense jobs, but when they came home, they were home. I think for us, it's really difficult to unplug because when we come home, we are still WhatsApping, we are still on our phone, we are scrolling and we're seeing other people's lives. And I don't think we realize nearly enough how very toxic that gets to be for our brain, and that might not be really good. I read somewhere like your brain is not made to be comparing yourself subconsciously to other people all of the time. And I think sometimes for me, for example, I'll get really overstimulated. And if I look at it objectively, my life is fine and nothing is actually on fire. But it starts feeling that way because you're doing one thing and you get, an annoying email or you see a message or whatever. So I've really had to start managing all of that so that I don't overstimulate myself. Me personally, I'm highly sensitive. I'm actually introverted, but I have a very extroverted job. So just like basically managing my energy all the time is really important because when I show up for my clients, when I show up for my family and friends, I want to be the best version of me. And that means that I have to start being the best version of me to me. But this has been a lifelong exercise for me. So the first thing I notice when I'm starting to get very annoyed or irritated, or I'll start having a little bit of a temper or like lose my patience very quickly with my partner, for example, it's usually because I'm overstimulated, and it just simply means that I need to start unplugging more. So the busier you get, the more important that is. I'll give you a really easy example. A while back, Jonathan and I, my boyfriend, we noticed that whenever we would have a really nice evening out, we would be so relaxed and in the car and still chatting. And then we'd come home, we'd sit down and we would take out our phone. And then all of a sudden we wouldn't be talking to each other anymore. And we'd be spending 30 minutes just like scrolling. Where we were super relaxed when we got home from dinner and our date night, then we would fall into that trap of like going online again and seeing like, hey, what's happening in the world, and like getting that dopamine rush in. But I'm always saying like, when did you put down your phone after 30 minutes of scrolling and we're like, oh, I'm super happy now? Or when did that make your life better? Not often, right? So the first thing I do to unplug from my business, and that I've changed, is I've installed downtime on my phone. And that means after 8 p.m., I can't actually see Instagram anymore or other social media or work apps. And I also make sure I never have any notifications on my phone. The only notifications that are on my phone are when I'm getting a phone call or sales notifications. I'm not at the point where that's annoying enough to turn it off. I love getting notifications in from sales. And what I've also done with my phone is I have a second phone. That's my content phone. And basically, there's no WhatsApp on there. There's no incoming calls or whatever. And that's just my phone that I can use to create content. But it's geared to not distract me. So when I'm creating content or I have to do stuff like right now recording a podcast, I won't be distracted by that phone. And I just have some self-imposed rules. My phone never goes to the bedroom. I have a separate alarm clock. I don't have any email and stuff on my phone. And I try to be just strict in how I use it. Sometimes I'll relapse and be scrolling, or I don't know, the downtime gets turned off. I've had periods of this, but then I find myself slipping. And then like I said, I become annoyed and irritated. And I think this is really a disease of our time. And I think most of the stress we feel about online businesses or insecurities we feel could be fixed simply by us being more intentional and mindful about how we use our phone. So maybe this is a good one for you to think about. What is it that you could change? I think for most of my clients, it's been not bringing their phone into the bedroom or checking it first thing in the day or last thing at night. And that starts with buying an alarm clock. So I have a Philips wake up light. I've had it for years. It works wonders. My charger is somewhere else. So having that habit of like charging your phone in a different room, not bringing it into your bedroom, I think works really, really well. The second thing that has helped me to unplug from my business when I'm not working is I have a very clear schedule and to-dos on certain days. So I know this doesn't work for everyone, but it works really well for me. I work in theme days. So I have Mondays for marketing. I have Tuesdays for sales and strategy. I have Wednesdays for my second business. I have Thursdays for coaching, and I have Fridays for operations. And it also means that within those days, I have a very clear schedule. For example, Monday morning, usually for me, is podcasting. Guess what I'm doing right now? It's Monday morning, it's 11 a.m., and I'm podcasting. I don't really have to think about it. I just know I need to do it. And I couldn't distract myself earlier by going on Instagram and scrolling because I knew, hey, you have 2 podcast episodes to record and create all of the content for. So I couldn't do that. I also know Tuesday afternoons, I have meetings with my team. So it helps me that those days are structured like that because I also know when I'm done. And this is where I see it's getting fucked up for so many people, is that they feel like they have an endless to-do list and they're also always working day to day, week to week, but they're not working month to month. And I'm going to be very, very upfront with you. This is difficult for me as well. I don't know if we are a little bit alike. I don't know. You tell me. Are we kind of the same person? But I am a visionary person. I get so many ideas. I'm also impatient. So if I get an idea, I'd love it to get done today. I'd love to create it today. When I'm creating podcast episodes, for example, it's really difficult for me to think of a new episode and be like, oh, I could create a new lead magnet to go along with that. I'm like, no, Amy, you're going to choose a lead magnet you've already created. Like, I always have to hold myself back. But what is very bad about that, especially for your brain and for also feeling satisfied from work, is that you might start feeling like you're never finished. But the way I work with my task schedule and my to-do list is I know today I'm going to finish recording all of the episodes for the upcoming month. And when I've done that, I'm done. But what if you would set really big goals, or you would always just write down everything you need to do for an entire week and that would be your to-do list? That would be really, really demotivating because from Monday until Friday, you would be not finished. You wouldn't have it done. So really looking at what actually needs to happen this week or this month and then dividing it up by the days you need to do it so that you also know at the end of the day that you are done and you hit your deadlines and you've finished all of the work you need to do is really calming because you can actually unplug and you can actually wrap up at the end of the day and be like, today I did what I needed to do and now I close off and I turn off my laptop. So this is something I would recommend you do, is create an ideal week schedule for yourself. Make sure you know which to-dos you're doing on certain days and also be very realistic about what you're planning on there and then actually do it. And I know that's the most difficult part, is learning that discipline. What has helped me in the past is working with virtual assistants and team members. So I had to do it, is committing myself to certain things. For example, with my podcast, I've committed myself in the past to publishing an episode every single Tuesday. And that worked really well because my audience was waiting on it. So I knew I had to create it. And now I've made this commitment with myself that I always want to have all of my podcasts done 1 month before. So currently, I'm going to be really honest with you. It's not November. It's October as I'm recording this. It's Monday, the 28th of October. My deadline is by the end of this month, which means Thursday. I want to have all of my podcasts and all of the content for my podcasts planned in and done so that the entire month of November is just flowing smoothly. And that works really well for me, but it didn't happen overnight. In the beginning, I struggled with just creating the first episode and having it go out on Tuesday morning at 7 a.m. So allow yourself some space to build up that discipline, but also be realistic about it. You are going to have to learn to build in that discipline. It doesn't happen overnight. Creating these podcasts, even waking up today, like I'm actually still in Ibiza with my boyfriend right now. We're having a really nice time. He's not as busy as I am. So, it would have been tempting to stay in bed. It would have been tempting to go and do stuff. But I also want to not have to stress about this every single week of November. So I just have to create these podcast episodes. I'm not always inspired. I don't always feel like doing it. But I have these self-imposed deadlines and a schedule and my to-dos on certain days. And today was a day I needed to create these last 2 episodes. So I did it. So start being honest with yourself. I think stop looking at your business as a hobby and start taking it seriously, and start making a schedule for yourself that you stick to. Make it work for you. I have been revamping my schedule like every quarter. I look at it, I'm like, what's working, what isn't working. Marketing takes up a lot of my time. Creating my sessions and hosting my sessions takes up a lot of time. So if I'm not disciplined, it's just not going to get done on time. And then I'm stressed and then my cortisol peaks and I don't want that. So this has helped me. The way that it helps you unplug is that you know when you are done, because you're not always just looking at an endless list of to-dos. So basically like just seeing my to-do list being done for the day really, really helps me. And that doesn't mean that everything has been done. It just means for that day or for that week, I'm done. And I also always plan my week in advance. On Fridays, I take time to plan out my next week. The third thing that has also helped me to unplug is having clear goals. So this is kind of in line with what I was saying about the previous topic, is that a lot of people, they don't really set goals, or they just set one goal and then they keep on working until they hit that goal. And it's never enough for them, or they don't have any goals and they're just like always aiming for more and it's never enough. But when you have really clear goals, you can also be like, oh, we hit that goal. Oh, I can let go now, or I don't need to stress about that sales target anymore because we've hit it, because you actually set realistic goals from the get-go. So setting goals, working in a staircase pattern, like I'll always set a break-even goal, a good goal, a super fucking happy goal. For example, we're currently selling out our event. We're almost at our first goal is 200 event tickets. Then we're going to get to 350 event tickets. My super fucking happy, amazing would be 500. I don't know if it's possible to hit that, but I'm going to try. But first, I need to make sure we have sold 200 tickets. Again, this is end of October. By the time you're listening to this, we'll have sold a bunch more tickets. But I just know by when I need to hit which goal so I can host the event. That's my first target, is 200 tickets. We're nearly there. And then I'm like, okay, then the next hurdle is going to be another 150 tickets. But at least I also know, for example, in the first day, I knew I wanted to sell 100 tickets in the first 24 hours. And then I made sure I work on achieving that. And I don't just hope for my goals to come true or something. So yeah, set goals so that you also know when you are done, and make sure they're realistic enough so they motivate you instead of demotivating you. I made an episode about that, I think in September or October. So definitely go and check that out. The fourth thing that helps me unplug for my business and add in more self-care is having a personal trainer. And contrary to popular belief, I didn't get a personal trainer when I got really rich. I got a personal trainer before I even hired my first team member. From the get-go, I've always invested in coaches and personal trainers because I realized very quickly that building a business was fairly exhausting and not always simple. And of course, I didn't have myself as a coach. And that if I wanted to keep my energy high for podcasts, for clients, for all of the things I wanted to do in my life, that I needed to make sure that other people were giving me their energy and were hyping me up. And a personal trainer was a way for me to do that. When I work out, I have higher energy, I feel better, but I don't always have the discipline to unplug from my work. So it might be the middle of the day, I'm just getting going. I'm like, yes, I can do another podcast or another video, or I can just finish up this for my team or this or that. But it's my personal trainer who then forces me to do an hour-long workout, which then actually gives me energy back. But I need to get forced to do it. So that has really helped me. If you don't have the funds to invest in a personal trainer. It could be, having a set date time with a friend to go swimming. I used to do that, or a walk, or ask your partner to keep you accountable. I do this with Jonathan. I tend to be lazy. I know that surprises you, or maybe it doesn't. It's for me, it's, how do I say it? I'm the least sporty person you'll ever meet. I'm not instinctively sporty. Like, I have to force myself to go outside. I have to force myself to go for a walk. I don't actually enjoy starting, but once I'm doing it, I'm like, yeah, it's fine. So with me, my boyfriend, for example, I'm always motivated with content. I push him to make content. He'll push me to go outside for a walk and take a break. So just find accountability in your environment and people who can inspire you with that. That really helps. And then I have 3 more things I do, but before I dive into those, I actually want to... Hey, this is a really quick interruption with a surprise for you. I promise you're gonna love this. I was just in a conversation, actually a power hour, with a client in my mastermind, and we were going through her strategy of how to scale her 6-figure business to 7 figures this year. And I asked her what she wanted, and she said, yeah, I want $1 million, but I also want more time with my kids. I want to stop working evenings, and I want to have more energy for what I love doing. And I said, okay, no problem. Let's list out all of your targets. We did exactly that, and then we got to work on the key elements she needs in order to grow her 6-figure business to a 7-figure business this year, and I applied my million methods. Now, we worked on this for a little bit over an hour, and at the end I was like, well, this was really valuable. Why don't I put this into a training to share with my audience? And as you are here on a podcast, I want to offer this to you for free. Now, know that working with me costs $10K for a day. The fact that I'm offering this to you for free is quite a glitch, and I am going to delete this after a while. So if you want my million method training, there is only one way you can access it. It's by going to my Instagram, FastForwardAmy, and DMing me the word method. If you do that, I'm going to send you my quick 24-minute training where I map out exactly how you can grow your online business from 6 to 7 figures this year. So go to my Instagram, FastForwardAmy, DM me the word method, and I'm going to send you the link to this really, really exclusive video training. Okay? Bye! Maybe let you in on what changed for me when I had to start paying attention to all of this. Is I used to just notice I was getting so exhausted. I was building my business and I was just constantly exhausted. And I remember my coach at the time, Sarah, she told me like, yeah, I used to have these really good weeks and these really bad weeks. Maybe you recognize that in your business as well. You have these weeks where you're insanely motivated, and then other weeks you're like, I hate this. I have no motivation. I can't seem to get anything done. I used to have these huge highs and lows. And what happened is when I had a high, I would keep going on that high and I would completely burn my energy and just push everything through. Because I was like, yeah, I still have energy. I would be working on my website really late at night. I would be doing projects, all of it. And then the next week, my tank would be empty. So Sarah taught me at the time, what if you teach yourself to stop on a high? And that was very counterintuitive for me, but it really helped me to teach myself to not always be chasing more and more, but to just end on a high, end my days on a high, and have energy left for my family, for my plus kids at the time, for my relationship, for my health. So I call this now, I've incorporated this into my routine. I've taught thousands of clients this method, is you gotta teach yourself to end on a high. It's kind of like your gas tank. You don't want to run it to empty all the time, because then at a certain point, it's always just gonna be empty and it won't be used to getting filled up again. So I created this sheet that you can actually download. It's one piece of paper. It has 7 days on it. And if you're listening to this, you're like, yeah, I'm really bad at this. I'm always going too far. My boyfriend is looking at how I'm charging my microphone. And he's now, did I not know? My boyfriend has issues with the way I charge stuff. He literally just walked into this room. We're at a friend's house in Ibiza, so we don't have our usual setup of recordings, and I'm trying really hard to focus while he's walking around almost naked. I'm gonna say this, he's almost naked. He's grinning now behind the scenes. Where was I? So the energy sheet. So I created this piece of paper. It has 7 days, and it's an exercise you can do just 1 week. It's only you only need to do it 1 week. You print it out, and at the end of the day, you circle where you're ending. Are you ending in the yellow, in the green, in the orange, in the red? And you'll start seeing these patterns of how do you end your days? Are you ending on a high or ending on a low? And then it has 3 simple questions to answer every single day. And to this day, I still do this exercise every single week to learn from my patterns and to learn from my fuck-ups. So this is my end on a high worksheet. I'd love to gift it to you because not only is it my mission, wow, blah, 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 is it my mission to teach women to become financially independent, but also to do that without burning out, without burning yourself to the ground. And I think just simply doing the exercise on this sheet is really going to help you. So if you want to grab it, you can go to fastforwardamy.com/energy, or simply DM me the word, so message me on Instagram, energy sheet, all one word, and I'll send you the printable, print it out, put it just next to your computer on your desk, and 1 week, do the exercise, and you'll quickly see where you're doing well and what you could improve on. Okay? Go and grab it. So my last 3 hacks to unplug from my business more and to self-care more is I have really clear communications with my team on communication. So I see a lot of business owners run their business through WhatsApp. That would be my own personal fucking nightmare. I do not understand how this works. It annoys the shit out of me. My team and I, we do not talk to each other outside of working hours unless it's memes through our Instagram DMs. Or it's something really urgent, we would just pick up the phone and call each other, but we don't actually run business through WhatsApp. So that means on just normal working days, we have Slack that we use as a communication channel. I don't expect them to be in there the entire time. I do expect them to check it at the end of the day, and then everyone will just log off. But I'm also not messaging them at night through WhatsApp, asking them a bunch of things. We just have very clear rules on communication, and we very much respect each other's boundaries. And it used to not be like that. It used to be kind of all over the place, and not just in platforms, but also in time. And it has really helped to install that. And I think sometimes entrepreneurs who are starting to scale or starting to work with clients, they will be oh, my team is annoying, or my clients are trampling my boundaries. But then they'll do that as well. You'll be texting your clients through WhatsApp, and then you're annoyed when they're texting you on the weekend. Well, then you should use a different communication channel from the get-go. This is on you. You need to educate your clients. You need to educate your team. You need to install boundaries, because otherwise it might work for you for 6 months, but just imagine 5 years from now, or when you have a baby, do you still want it to be this way? For me, I'm very clear on the type of business I want to build. I'm very clear on what I want my life to look like when I have babies and kids running around. And I want my business to be a business. I don't want it to be my entire life. I'm very passionate about my business, but I also want a life outside of it. And I don't want to have to always be on. And I think that's really a disease of today's day and age. Okay. And then the last 2 are, this is actually the 6th one, is something Jonathan and I always laugh about when we're on vacation. Right now, we're not we're here for a workation. We're doing some work together, but we've also had really fun dates. At the end of the day, we've been going hiking or to a restaurant or meeting up with friends. And I told him, oh, it's funny how here we do that, but at home, sometimes we struggle to wrap up. We struggle to end on a high sometimes, because you can always do one more thing on a laptop, or you can always, it's fix one more thing. And then we said, yeah, we just need to plan in more fun activities. So hacking yourself by planning in something fun at the end of the day, instead of having to cook or something, it really helps. But what we do in general is either we plan in something fun. I'll sometimes plan in some of my beauty appointments, so I have to stop working because I am someone who can keep going and I have to hack myself. Or what we'll do is we'll have a standing appointment to cook together, and we often cook together. And it's just our way to come down from the day to connect, and it's our quality time. So yeah, look at how you can plan in some stuff at the end of the workday that you look forward to, so that your life is actually more exciting than your business. I learned this from a coach back in the days. Often when we are constantly finding or creating chaos in our business is because we don't have enough play in the rest of our life. But your business shouldn't be chaotic. Your business should be fairly stable and boring, actually. Go and create some chaos or some play in the rest of your life. Go and find a hobby, stuff like that. And then last but not least, and this is something all of my good friends know, is that I have a brain that will always keep on going. So for me, it doesn't really work really well to just like sit somewhere and be like, oh, I'm doing nothing. For me, it works really well to do something else. So I am addicted to romance novels. I read these really shitty romance novels on my Kindle account. I'll read a couple of books every week, but I love it. I just love winding down. I don't watch reality TV or that stuff. I try to limit TV because I don't feel like it relaxes me enough or calms me down enough. But reading really, really calms me down. It takes my brain somewhere else. It lets me come down from a day. So just like, instead of always thinking I need to do less, maybe add in something else that actually makes you relax. For you, it could be painting or puzzles. For me, it's reading. And I've given up on being bothered about the amount of money I spend on books a long time ago. I just spend a lot of money on books, and it's my guilty pleasure. And I allow myself to do that. So find something that you can always bring along to always just like unplug. And instead of scrolling, do that. For me, instead of scrolling Instagram, I'll read on my Kindle. That's what I do. And that's what actually relaxes me versus that half hour of scrolling. Unless it's for research, it doesn't really do anything for me. Okay, I hope you enjoyed this episode. This is something I made just because I think a lot of us struggle with it. I'm wondering if you would like more episodes like this. Did you get anything out of it? Please let me know. Tag me on Instagram, send me a message or whatever. And don't forget to go and grab that energy sheet. If you forgot about it, just remember, just click the link in the description, fastforwardamy.com/energy, or DM me the word energy sheet, all one word, on FastForwardAmy. I'll send it over. You can print it out and just do the exercise for 1 week. Okay? Bye, and talk to you next week.